G'day viewers, well, still finance approval for the other buyer of this place is due today, so whether I can buy tomorrow, I won't know for damn sure whether this place is officially sold. But we're still looking for a bloody good house in Mildura. It's not easy. There's a lot of shitholes, there's a lot of nice houses, but the areas are all drug areas and all the areas are bad. So you get a good house, it's in a bad area, a lot of thefts and stuff going on, and drugs. There's a lot of, particularly if you find a place and there's shoes hanging on the power lines by their laces. If you see shoes hanging on the power lines by the laces tied together, that's a drug hotspot. So I see that quite often around Mildura. Go to a house where there's nice houses and looks like a nice street, and all the power lines have all got shoes hanging off them, and that means there's a drug hotspot there. So there's a lot of that around here. So we have found a nice space and a nice area, but the houses are too damn small. So all this stuff here will have to be boxed up and stay out of reach, out of sight. We won't be out of man cave, so the plan is to live in a little place for a little while and build what we want. Get one built in a nice area, something big, relatively big, and yeah, that's our plan to do that. So took this WD elements apart, and this interface board is absolutely shagged. I wanted to try and get the enclosure revived, but although the pinouts are the same as my other one, this board is just dead. There's a short in it somewhere. It's dead, so I can't use that. I would have loved to use that other enclosure that this came out of. I stick one of the other hard drives in it, but I can't do that. Might turn this into a speaker. It's interesting, the bearing on this thing. The bearing, the actual spindle bearing's in here, inside this part here. Because I tapped this thing out, pushed it out with a hammer and a pin punch. Although this was unobstructed all the way when it came out, this thing is now completely seized. The shock must have stuffed the bearing up in here, so the spindle bearing is in the end of this thing, inside here. There's quite thick platters on this too. Very thick platters, about 1.5 times thicker than every other HDD platter I've ever seen. Be a good speaker. It's dead. I've noticed for a lot of Apple Lightning chargers, only the genuine Apple ones, the Lightning connector at the end is magnetic. All aftermarket ones, or cheap ones, the Lightning connector is not magnetic. This one here was a couple of about 6 months old, and it already stuffed up. So I cut the end off when I make a keyboard cable out of it. Yeah, stay away from that brand, it is crap. 47th week of 2014. It's not even that old. Only 3 months old and already died. This only lasted me 3 weeks and it buggered up. As for my phone, well, it's actually come up quite well. I did the screen replacement, carefully checked everything. The connector on here is actually a known issue on these 5Cs. So I'm going to put all but two of the screws back in on that connector, and the screen works fine. It's just the connector on it's very, very, very temperamental. It tends to short out and not connect properly and give me issues with the screen not working properly. And the touch screen wasn't working, so I've had to leave out two of the screws and put cardboard catalogue paper in there. As I said earlier, to insulate everything, because I ripped off the original foam insulating pads. I put all but two of the screws back in, and that screen works fine. I've had to power cycle my phone on and off about 3 times, and it eventually came good. I've never had a trouble with my phone since. The new battery's doing quite well. But yeah, don't overcharge them. Hope buggers them up in the first place. The video drivers have improved on this now. I did a good couple of Windows updates and it rates better now, so that's all come good. Let's see what I got. No warnings on there. Low risks. Okay, what have I got here? Oh, put a shadow copy of volume C was deleted to keep this space, so usually for shadow copies of volume C below use the fine limit. Anyway. Nothing much else has been happening, just yet to clean up. Till we get the final go ahead, then we can start boxing all this stuff up. Got a heap of boxes from work, we're throwing them in the skip. We do reuse them and use them as packing between finished products on the cartons when they're stuck on the pallets, but there's about 20 or 30 that don't get we don't need because I have so much of the bloody boxes already recycled within the factory. There's a lot that we throw out in the process, so the cardboard skip's never empty around here. It's always getting overfilled most times. Most of it's giant cardboard, but most of the boxes that get thrown out anyway that they don't use, I'll take a moment and reuse them for packaging boxes because they're actually double layered thick cardboard. So rather than going in the skip, I'll just take a few of the ones that I don't want that's going to get thrown out at home and use them for packaging stuff. Yeah, this is all going to have to be bubble wrapped. I've got a heap of bubble wrap for these, so these are going to go in the container, but I can't do anything until my container's shifted so the truck can pick it up and take it to the new destination at my dad's cousin's house. So that's why I haven't cleaned up in here yet. The container is very heavy as it is. After I take everything out, move it, pack it, wrap it and tie it all down, and then we can start, then it can be moved safely without things tumbling or falling on top of each other in there. There's the last batch of updates finishing up on this machine now. There's a 3.6 GHz Prescott processor Pentium 4s that came out at the same time that this was. This is the second one down from that bit. They are quite inefficient, the old Pentium 4s, but they were pretty damn awesome when they came out. This thing just loves to run hot and it's not even overclocked. This case is very inefficient for cooling, so I have to leave it like this. The hard drive was getting about 69 degrees Celsius, so I don't want to cook two perfectly good hard drives. So it's best to keep this thing with a fan over it. It's a bit redneck, but it will prolong the life of this old machine. Heat's the #1 killer of old machines like this. Anyway, that's about much update for now. Whilst I did the screwdriver trick and pull the top of the battery off, it all came off. There was 2 holes here and that's it. The rest are all vent holes that get to the cells. So I've had to did the Epsom salt trick on this one. It's improved it a little bit, so got some silicone and glued this thing back down and clamped it. The battery's fixed. That one there was pretty damn easy to get the tops off actually. It works quite well. You jam 2 screwdrivers under here and carefully lever the top off. This one's going to be harder because it's got all really well welded. Not all batteries will pop off easy. This one here came off quite neatly, so I was able to clean it, top the water up and Epsom salt it and reseal it with some bit of silicone. Worked quite well. Anyway, 30 enough for now. Thanks for watching.